Welcome to the 4 to 5. It's that time of the day, and it's Monday. We're kicking things off again. It's confusing to me because I worked last night, so I think in my mind it's Tuesday.
Right.
Yes.
It's Monday.
Happy
it's
Monday.
Monday. But it was such a great weekend, so I feel prepared for this Monday. Yesterday was beautiful without the rain, and then Sunday was great. I mean, Saturday was great as well.
Yeah, you kind of had to get past a good portion of the day yesterday before you really got the nice stuff.
And believe it or not, because it looks good here in the studio, we have thunderstorms right now out and about. So we're going to
really?
Yeah,
show
we
you
can
that.
see it behind you.
Yeah, the Winston camera especially, but we'll talk about that in a minute.
Okay, cool. Well, the big story that we are following today, a bomb threat at the North Carolina Zoo in Asheboro. It caused an evacuation of visitors, which included were there on school field trips. It's since been cleared, and investigators say the threat was not credible. WFMY News 2's Amber Lake is live at the zoo with an update. Amber.
Right, guys, so the Randolph County Sheriff's Office says the bomb threat was made by a juvenile. Now, thankfully, no one was hurt and no weapons were found here at the park. But it was a pretty traumatic day for a lot of people who wanted to make today a fun day. Now, as you can see the video that we shot earlier, buses and cars were seen filing out of the park today as the evacuation started just before 11 a.m. We talked to a parent chaperoning a Northwest Middle School field trip this afternoon. She said,
going back to Asheville. The kids missed school today, so you know there's a pro to it for sure. But yeah, no zoo, unfortunately.
Now the zoo will resume normal business hours tomorrow. As for the juvenile who made the threat, a juvenile petition will be filed, but no other details are available because of the suspect's age. Live here in Asheboro, Amber Lake, WFMY News 2.
All right, thank you, Amber, for that update. Right now, we are following developing news on a deadly school shooting out in Nashville. Investigators say 3 children and 3 adults were shot and killed by a shooter at the Covenant School. Authorities say they believe the 28-year-old female shooter was a former student. The female suspect was killed by police during a confrontation. The shooter reportedly had 2, quote, assault-style rifles and a pistol. The school is a private Christian school for pre-K through 6th grade students. An area was established for parents to reunite with their children. We will keep you updated as the story continues to develop.
A tornado ripped through Mississippi, killing at least 26 people and injuring dozens more. The National Weather Service says the EF4 had wind speeds up to 170 miles an hour when it touched down Friday night. Volunteers have descended on the disaster area to help, including those from Boone-based Samaritan's Purse. The team brought 2 disaster relief trailers stocked with equipment. Over the next few days, the group will help repair homes, clear debris, and find missing people. People who live there have been overwhelmed by the amount of destruction.
This is the first time in a while we've had this much structural damage from a tornado.
Mississippi has opened shelters for storm victims, and many have lost everything.
To be ready if severe weather comes is crucial to get ready ahead of time. In case of down or frozen power lines, make sure you always have a battery-powered radio and extra charging devices on hand in case you ever lose power during a storm. FEMA advises others to make copies of important documents and upload them to a computer, or even consider a safe box for items like your birth certificate. When the weather is quiet, it is also a good time to take a look at what your insurance does and does not cover.
Boy, seeing some of that video, I mean, like, I guess the most dramatic piece of video I saw was a semi truck that had been lifted off the ground and was on top of a house.
Scary stuff. I was just saying while that story was airing I used to live in Mississippi for my first job. There's a lot of tornadoes that go through there, so preparation definitely is key. I remember when I first moved there, I was living in Lamar County, and there was a tornado watch, and then a tornado actually landed, and I also lost power, and I lived alone, so I was kind of freaking out. But I remember I got in the tub, got covered with a blanket. I had my phone on the live stream, and that was how I knew to keep up to date with things. And there was a fatality in the county I was living in due to the tornado.
Did they have sirens?
Yeah, they had sirens.
They did have sirens, yeah. Because we don't have that, you know, like that's not a thing so much for this part of the world, but we do get our share of tornadoes. It's just, luckily for us, usually, not always, usually they're the smaller on the EF scale 1 or 2 is kind of what we get, just based on where we are with latitude and longitude.
So is this, so oftentimes we see in this area when there is a weather system that pushes through the deep south, it heads in our area, out to our general region next. Is this something that we're seeing today now with this other system?
Yeah, so the system moved by, now it's headed here. One thing that we should be thankful for is that the mountains play a role for us. So when a system goes up the mountains, without getting all sciencey on you, it kind of sucks the energy out of it. So when it comes back down the other side, it's usually not as strong. So that's one thing that helps us out too. Let's see what's going on. We do have thunderstorms to talk about, and that's been happening for a little bit. We're gonna have to change our, I don't know if we can change that, but switch back over, but I will work on that in just a minute. I wanna tell you first about the temperature. So we're in the mid 70s right now, and there we go. And in the central parts of the viewing area, but upper 70s to the south. Now when it gets that warm, that kind of adds to the volatility a little bit, and that's why we can see a thunderstorm or two across the region. Nothing major, but it is out there right now. 46 will be the low tonight, and we'll see clear skies. 63 tomorrow. There is the chance of a shower tomorrow evening. All right, here's what we're seeing right now. And you can see a lot of the heavier cloud cover and shower activity is kind of at the intersection there with Davidson County, Randolph, and Guilford. So let's zoom in tight here. And you notice High Point getting the rain now, but the heaviest showers, really, let's go in a little bit tighter. And you'll see from Thomasville over to Archdale, right along I-85. So really, if you're anywhere around Fairgrove up to High Point, that's where we're seeing the strongest rain right now. And odds are there may be a lightning strike within this as well. So just know we're getting into that time of the year, aren't we? Broader picture here though, that's about it. Behind that, lots of clear skies. We do have a couple of systems that'll skirt by, just enough to bring us a rain chance. Again, tomorrow, that's a 30% chance, probably tomorrow night, but a high in the low 60s for us. That's pretty seasonal. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we got a warming trend, 62, 67, and 72 for those 3 days. Friday's beautiful, by the way. Saturday, 40% chance of rain with a high of 74, and we'll cool it down back to normal. Sunday, Monday, partly cloudy. Still comfortable, though, with highs in the mid-60s.
We are monitoring two events happening right now. Guilford County Schools is hosting a hiring event at the Greensboro Coliseum Complex, and Governor Cooper is preparing to sign a bill into law that will expand Medicaid. Regarding that GCS event, the district is hoping to hire a lot of people at its event today. This is a live picture. School leaders are answering questions and accepting applications for current and future teaching positions. They're for all grade levels. The district is even offering signing bonuses up to $20,000 for people who qualify. The event runs until 7 at the field house.
All right, we're going to take another live look. Right now, North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper is signing the Medicaid expansion bill. Right now, almost 3 million people are covered under Medicaid in our state. Under the expansion, around 600,000 more adults could qualify. About 30,000 of them are here in Guilford County. Governor Cooper has pushed for Medicaid expansion since taking office in 2017. Last week, lawmakers made it happen.
President Biden will be in Durham tomorrow, kicking off his Investing in America tour. His office says he'll talk about jobs and infrastructure while visiting a semiconductor manufacturer. The stop is part of a 20-state tour over the next 3 weeks. A North Carolina-based bank is acquiring that California bank that collapsed earlier this month. First Citizens Bank, based in Raleigh, bought much of Silicon Valley Bank. The sale includes all deposits and loans. The deal could reassure investors at a time of shaken confidence in banks. All 17 branches of Silicon Valley Bank reopened this morning as First Citizens banks.
Gas prices have skyrocketed 13 cents in the last week, averaging $3.32. According to Gas Buddy, the cheapest gas in Greensboro is priced at $2.89, while the most expensive is $3.89, a full dollar difference. Tomorrow, all major hospitals in the Triad will lift their mask mandate policies. These include Atrium, Cone Health, and Navant. The hospitals are now making masks optional in most healthcare facilities. The hospitals say fewer cases of COVID-19 requiring hospital-level care is the main reason for this move. A return to masking is possible if numbers change.
We all know one of the best ways to prevent getting sick is washing your hands. Your mom said it to you 100 times, probably. Experts say poor hand hygiene affects 1 in 31 patients in hospitals. Well, now some medical groups are updating their recommendations.
We all know hand washing is important, but many of us could do a better job scrubbing more often and the right way. Now, 5 medical organizations are coming together to recommend strategies to prevent healthcare-associated infections through hand hygiene.
It's the basic foundation of all infection prevention in a healthcare setting. We are updating this guidance because there's a lot of literature about how we can improve hand hygiene, and we need to improve hand hygiene.
The new guidance recommends ongoing training in hand washing and proper use of sanitizer. Research suggests only 7% of healthcare personnel effectively clean the entire surface of their hands.
86% of the healthcare personnel performed hand hygiene at the appropriate time, but they missed their fingertips and they missed their thumbs. You want to have enough hand sanitizer to clean all of the skin on your hands.
And of course, hand washing is critical to protect your family from getting sick. The experts say lather and spend 20 seconds singing happy birthday twice.
Cold or warm water, doesn't need to be hot.
Dr. Daniel Sullivan from the Cleveland Clinic gave us a quick demonstration.
During that 20 seconds, cleaning not only the palms, but also our thumbs and the back of our hands, and then lastly, rubbing under the nails to get any virus that may be hiding under the nails. After the 20 seconds, rinsing and then drying with a clean towel.
And be sure to wash up before and after eating, using the bathroom, and after blowing your nose, coughing, or sneezing to keep everyone in the house safe.
Well, you know, some people get obsessive over things like that hand washing. So I asked you on Facebook, let's talk about those quirks that maybe your friends poke fun at with you. Joanna said, my cow print obsession. I want everything cow print or cows. Wow. Debbie says, pretty much being late all the time. I thought that was my wife that made that post. Elizabeth says, I love this, eating ribs with a knife and fork and knowing what places have the best ribs. Cindy says, folding my towels. So my first job was in the domestic department at a store, and the towels had to be perfect with wash rags matching perfectly. Also, that's the way my mom taught us, so don't you dare get them out of whack. I'll fix them just like I do the toilet paper roll. You got to keep that the certain way. Right. Kathy says, I'm weird about restaurant sanitation grades. I can't let myself eat anywhere less than a 95. For seafood, I prefer a 98 or better.
Hey, nothing is wrong with that. That's,
right.
Most of us should actually do that.
I don't ever look at sanitation
My
grades.
wife does, boy.
Really?
Yes. She will not eat at places probably like that below and about a 95.
Well, they say the lower the grade, the better the taste, right?
That's what some say.
I'm not promoting that.
So my weirdness, I told Lauren, is if it's summer and I have a glass of anything to drink and it gets all sweaty on the outside, I take my napkin and wipe it off. I don't know why. I don't like that condensation.
Sweaty glasses?
Yes. I'll wipe them off.
Okay.
I can see that. I was sharing with Eric before the show started that I always make sure that all the doors in my house are locked, but I do it multiple times. Or I'll wake up in the middle of the night like, did I lock the door? Or did I turn the oven off? And it's been times where I have left the house and I said, did I blow that candle off? Did I turn that curling iron on? And I've driven back, but it's a little bit overboard. It might be a little bit of OCD in there too.
My brother-in-law does that.
I don't really have any like really weird things, just based off of what you all were saying and what some of the comments were. Like, so when I turn my microphone off between the 4 and the 6 o'clock newscast, I have to think about actually doing it.
Which direction?
And like I'm like, okay, are you turning it? Okay, I'm turning it off right now. Just so because otherwise I'll be like you with the door thing, and I'm like, did I shut it off?
Did I do it? Did I not? Are my batteries getting wasted?
What's funny is once you get married, someone is there to tell you things about you that you never knew.
Yeah.
So my wife said to me one time when I eat soup, she goes, you slurp. And I said, no, I don't. She goes, yes, you do. So I started noticing I like things really hot. And I do that because it's so hot that I caught myself, and I'm like, she's right.
You're really right on people picking up on things. So people I've dated in the past, or even my closest friends that are around me a lot, I tend to go a lot when I say certain things. And one of my, you might start hearing me say it off camera.
I love these
So
things.
one of my friends in childhood said she noticed I would always say that when I said something that I feel like people weren't paying attention or listening to me, that I'd be like, yeah, I like those shoes too. And so people who are around me a lot, they're like, you always go, and I'm like, so I don't know if it's like a little tick or something, but
Mine is,
people who are around me a lot will pick up on that.
Every time I do weather, I will count the times that I go, and I say way too much.
Yes, I try to limit like
Like.
to, I say that a lot
All right.
on air too, like
See, now-
right now, like.
I'm not done yet. I know we're supposed to go to break. Amber Lake told me that sometimes on this show she will hear me say interesting, like as a response to other things.
Okay, we're gonna keep it count.
Or-
Interesting.
Absolutely,
So
that's
I've been
enough.
trying not to say interesting.
Now we're being OCD.
Yeah, our producer said,
Yeah,
wrap
we
it
gotta
up.
go. We'll be back.
Chad the giraffe. Of course I did. Now I'm trying to find out if it's a new giraffe or if it's just video of a giraffe. Like, is it? It's not a baby giraffe, right? Like, I'm trying to figure out why it. So, but like, what's the news hook? Like, why was that even out there? Like, why? Got it. Okay, that's what it was. I was trying to figure out. I was like, it doesn't look like a baby giraffe. I was trying to figure out what the news hook was for why that video even existed, like on Newspath or wherever you found it. Yeah. Okay.
You know, what I'm about to talk about is probably one of the most missed events in Greensboro, meaning people miss this dramatically. We're talking about those beach music concerts in downtown Greensboro. Well, beach music lovers, it is back. I spoke to Downtown Greensboro Incorporated President Zach Matheny about this event and how it got its rebirth.
When we were doing our 2030 strategic action plan, we went to a lot of neighborhoods, went to a lot of groups asking input. Of course, this was pre-COVID. So trying to figure out, what do people want Greensboro to be? Live music is extremely popular, but there is no question that everybody we heard from talked about the Beach Music Festival and continuing that. And in this case, working with the ballpark, we were able to find 5 weeks with 5 awesome traditional North Carolina bands that is surely going to bring out the history, but also the newness and what people have been missing and what they want to hear.
So in the past, the concerts were held at LeBauer Park, and that's some of the video you're seeing here. But this year, Matheny says they're going big, and they're going to hold them in the Grasshoppers' home, First Bank National Field.
The stage will be facing the grandstand bar. So there's 2 options you can have, or really 3. 1, bring a blanket. Sit down in the outfield right in front of the stage, and you can listen up front and close to the band. The second is you can sit comfortably in the bleachers at the ballpark. And then third, there's some more seats that'll be around the grandstand bar, but you can also shag up there. You can shag on the grass as well, but you can shag up on the concourse as well. And so multi-level places to view. and we just can't wait to see thousands of people out there supporting this.
That looks like a blast.
You remember these things? They were so much fun.
When I moved here almost 10 years ago, I got somehow scooped into this really cool tradition where every Thursday we go to Bill Black Beach Music Blast, and it was so fun. And I remember you all would perform.
Yep, my band played
at
it
least
a couple
once
times.
a year, right?
Yep. So there are going to be 5 of them this year. Now it's sponsored by Town Bank. And Barrico, so these folks have put in a lot of money to get this back finally. Because I would have people come up to me in public and say, are they going to do downtown beach music concerts? So now the Town Bank beach music thing, it's back. May 4th is the first one with the TAMs. Check the Downtown Greensboro website, but it's the TAMs, and I'm not in order, I just know the TAMs are the first. TAMs, chairman of the board is the last one. Catalina's Band of Oz, and the Part-Time Party Time Band, which is based in High Point. So some regional bands too. I mean, TAMs are Atlanta.
I can see why you missed that, because who doesn't like live music, right? And the weather is good, it's outside, you got food, you got drinks, it's a great time, and we saw people were out there dancing, doing the shag and all that. But I think it's great they're doing it in the Hopper Stadium, because the seating there is great. No matter where you sit, you have a good view, the food there is really good.
They've never done this before, so this is the first time. We'll see how it goes.
And I think this right here, this example of it going to the Hopper Stadium is another example. You remember when I did a couple months ago the story of how the new owner of the Hoppers is really expanding the stadium to do more events?
Get some more use out of it.
This is it. Yes,
Absolutely.
that's exactly right. The TAMs, I mentioned them as being the first band. I love them. But a little inside scoop about the TAMs. Little Red is the lead singer. That's his nickname.
Oh, cool.
His sister is Tiny from Tiny and T.I.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
wow.
T.I. is his brother-in-law. Yeah, there's
That's
your trivia.
awesome.
And I have no idea what he just said.
You don't know T.I. and Tiny?
You know T.I.
Right.
Yeah, you know the rapper. All right, let's talk about our forecast. Let's see, Chad, that's sad if I know who T.I. is.
The rapper T.I.
Yes, T.I. the rapper. Yes, you know who he is. Yes, let's clear that up. Chad is way cooler than I am. I'm just trying to help him. 74 in the Triad, 76 in Charlotte, and 68 in Boone. Hey, we've got thunderstorm activity moving through the area. That's kind of the biggest story. And it'll be quick, and we're only seeing it in one little section of the viewing area for now, and I think that may be it. We'll keep our fingers crossed. There is a chance, but I think for the most part, even this model is showing a quick clear out. We'll drop down to the upper 60s by 8 p.m., probably by midnight, 60 even, and then into the 50s we go. And if the skies remain clear at that point, we could see overnight lows in the 40s for tonight. No, actually where we should be for this time of the year. There's the thunderstorm activity we were talking about, and we're not seeing a lot of lightning with it, but the possibility exists. So from Lexington up to High Point, Pleasant Garden, getting a heavier shower now. If you're in Randleman, I would say just get ready for that heavier rain to move through your area. And again, an isolated lightning strike, not out of the question, but this is fairly isolated. This is all we're seeing across the region. You can see too, it's starting to push on out of the view here. Let's look at the 7 day. So after tonight's overnight low of 46 and a couple of these evening showers, then we'll see highs going to 63 for tomorrow. There is a chance of rain again tomorrow night. That's a 40%. And then 60 and clearing on Wednesday. It's beautiful. Thursday, Friday, partly cloudy, 67 and 72. That is great. 50-50 shot of rain on Saturday with maybe a thunderstorm in 76. And we're back in the mid to upper 60s Sunday and Monday. Well, we're watching some thunderstorms across the area right now. Some very isolated. I mean, you can see when you look at the map here, there's not a whole lot in our viewing area. There's some closer to, say, Statesville and that area, Salisbury, but right over Davidson, Randolph counties. That's where we're seeing the heaviest rain right now. Again, fairly isolated, but Pleasant Garden getting some heavier showers, so southern Guilford County. Probably the heaviest rain I've seen so far is now moving into Randleman and Lexington. So both of these areas, if you're in those cities, you're getting some pretty heavy rain. It is moving south and east, so Asheboro and Randleman and down to Siler City and Liberty, you are next in line for some of those heavier showers across the region. Once these leave, and we still have a risk as we head into the next hour or two, but once we lose that heating of the sun, that kind of takes away the fuel to the fire, we'll be in good shape. Tomorrow there's a chance of a nighttime shower, otherwise 63. Partly cloudy Wednesday and Thursday, a low 60s Wednesday, upper 60s Thursday, topping out at 72 on Friday with sunshine, and then a little rain, maybe a thunderstorm, and the hottest high of the week, Saturday at 76. I think the 4 to 5 needs a house band. So instead of playing the music, we could actually have musicians.
Oh, that would be live.
Like the late shows?
Yes, and that cue them.
Why don't we get a live studio audience,
yeah, what would that be
too?
called? I don't know. We'll figure that one out.
The twos.
The twos.
Like the Thames.
The twos. Welcome back, by the way.
Yes, good to see you.
Eric, Chad, and Lauren here. And we've got lots to talk about, a couple of thunderstorms across the area and some news headlines. We're all over the place.
Which camera is this? Because the camera we were looking at before, it was
So that's
raining.
Winston, and now that it's kind of shifted from that area south and east. So really more of it's a Davidson, Randolph County, and southern Guilford County right now.
I wish that you had like an app on your phone where you could change it live, like move the camera around.
People at home could do it.
No, you. So you're like, here, now look to the left as I pan this way.
We do have a little remote control, but it's across the room. So
cool stuff.
We'll work on that.
More on the weather in a moment, but first we're going to hop into some other news that a lot of folks are talking about happening today. The city of Greensboro is asking the public for feedback back on an intersection that has plagued drivers and business owners for years. It's the stretch of Battleground Avenue and Lawndale Drive from just north of Cornwallis to Bessemer Avenue just south of Red Cinemas. Neighbors who live nearby say they are some of the most dangerous roads they've ever traveled.
When people try to turn in any direction, from Lawndale to get over to Battleground or vice versa, it blocks the traffic that's flowing east-west on Cornwallis, and it really creates a problem.
That's why the city is holding a public input session this afternoon at Guilford Park Presbyterian Church. Businesses and property owners went earlier this afternoon. The session is open to the general public from 5 to 7.
Also happening today, Guilford County state lawmakers say they're introducing a bill that would lead to traffic cameras in school zones. They say they want to be able to monitor drivers and would allow the city to mail tickets to people caught speeding. It's not clear whether it has support to pass. We will keep you posted.
A bill to increase the maximum speed limit in North Carolina is getting some support in the House, but experts warn it could make roads more dangerous. The bill will increase the maximum speed limit from 70 miles per hour to 75. Now, it doesn't specify which roads would that allow for. Instead, it would be up to the state's Department of Transportation to determine where it would be reasonable and safe to make that change. I have no issue with this. I think as long as some research is done to find out where we get a lot of traffic, where we don't get a lot of traffic, because I've driven on some roads where I'm like, hey, we could go a little faster here, so I have no issue with this.
When I used to live in Nebraska, and the interstate that went from Lincoln to Omaha, it's about a 45-minute drive, and they increased it to 75 miles an hour, and it's a straight stretch, so it's easy, right? There are not a lot of exits, so not every road is built to have people driving, because if you think about it, people are going to drive 85 miles an hour on that road.
That's right.
The speed limit is 75, so you really have to be careful that it's not on turns, and that it will be safe.
It's a straightaway, really, is what you need. Our producer was telling me in my ear just then, because some roads in Texas are 80.
I was just about to say that.
I did not know that. But do they do the same thing, like I know in like Phoenix and those desert areas where it's just straight shot? Do they increase it there like that? I don't know. I don't know if that's 80 or. I don't know.
I was looking up. I know in Texas it can go up to 80 or even 85 in some areas. And the Transportation Commission, they went out and they basically review where it would be the safest in order for that to happen.
That's kind of scary. 85 is pushing.
Well, I lived in Germany, and on the Autobahn, you could go over 100 miles per hour. So we had our hands in the air like we were part of NASCAR when we were driving over there.
You got to hold on to that like you're in NASCAR.
We were going like this. No, I'm just
this
kidding.
ain't no roller coaster here.
That's when I start crying. Slow down. I don't like
Everything's shaking.
All right, let's look at our forecast, see what's going on. We got to keep checking on the radar here and see what's happening with our thunderstorms. First things first, though, the reason we're seeing a lot of this is the heat and the humidity building back in. Look at the temperatures to the north, and this is a little unusual when you think, wait a minute, our northern reporting stations basically are in the low 80s. Reedsville 81, Walnut Cove and Martinsville at 80, even Mount Airy 79. Then you come down to Greensboro, it drops to 74, High Point 73, and Lexington 73. It's almost like we're upside down. The reason is because it's a rain-cooled 73 and 74 in that neck of the woods, and to the north they have not seen the showers that we're seeing right now. So 46 for our low tonight. We'll gradually see all clear. Partly cloudy and some showers possible Tuesday night, but not before we see that high temperature of 63. Here's the latest with the rain and some of these showers. They're heavy at times, and moving to the south you can see Randleman getting a good bit of rain, Pleasant Garden seeing that as well. Let's go in just a little bit tighter here. Yeah, from northern parts of Asheboro all the way up 220 if you head up toward Level Cross, right in between there you're getting some heavier showers. So if you have to travel along Interstate 73 or 74 headed in that direction, you definitely will run into that. After that little bit moves by, you can see we're all clear back behind it, so looking good as we head into the night. Just get rid of a few of these showers and storms we have right now. 63 for tomorrow. We've got a 40% chance of evening or overnight showers on Tuesday. It's a high of 60 Wednesday, partly cloudy through the rest of the work week, 67 and 72 for Thursday, Friday. The hottest day Saturday with thunderstorm chance, 50-50 shot and 76, and we're back to where we should be, mid to upper 60s, partly cloudy for Sunday and Monday.
It's the start of a new era in North Carolina A&T football. Vincent Brown is now at the helm, and we caught up with Coach Brown to see how things are going 2 weeks into spring practice.
Things are going really well. We've gotten a chance to get our systems installed, work a lot of situational football, trying to make sure our kids understand how to eliminate the things that cause losing, and what we need to build foundationally to be a competitive CAA team this season. It is creating the right culture and environment first and foremost, and then teaching the kids who, has played in a different style of offense and defense the things that we believe are necessary to succeed. So I think our kids have done a great job so far. We still have a few more practices to go, and we're going to keep building. Accountability, first and foremost. We are going to make ourselves a hard-to-beat team by being disciplined, having players that we believe in and players that are trustworthy and dependable. So accountability has been the most important aspect of what we're trying to get instilled here. Purpose. We have a defined purpose of what we're trying to get done here, and laying that foundation for what we're going to need for success going into the fall.
Aggie fans can get their first look at the team this Saturday during the 1 p.m. spring game. Regular season play kicks off August 31st at UAB. Their home opener is set for September 9th against rival NC Central. Brown comes to Greensboro after spending the last 4 seasons as an associate head coach, defensive coordinator, and linebackers coach at William & Mary. He also was a standout NFL player and actually earned All-Pro honors 3 times with the New England Patriots. So if anything, just the excitement surrounding a coach that has, really played a pivotal role in the NFL is, I think, a big deal for the Aggies.
Because a coach can change the game around. They can,
absolutely.
change you from losing all the time to winning all the time, or to maintaining that path to success. What I really liked about what he said was he's focused on creating a healthy culture and environment, because I think that's where you either thrive or where you decline. So I really liked how he pointed that out.
Players always say they like a player's coach, and those coaches are hard to find.
Yeah.
You know people that can do X's and O's, but if you can identify with the players and get in the trenches with them, they appreciate that.
It's exciting though that we are now back into spring season already for
Yeah.
football. Before we know it, we're going to be playing some games here.
Well, NCAA tournament still going on, and that has brought a little extra madness to March this go around. I love this because after 4 rounds of upsets and last-second finishes, the Final Four is set, and the last team standing have made history. This is the first time ever there's not a number 1, 2, or 3 seed in the Final Four. 9 seed Florida Atlantic and 5 seed San Diego State and Miami are all playing in the Final Four for the first time. If the UConn Huskies win it, it will be their 5th national championship. That ties them with Duke and Indiana for 4th most all time. The Huskies' last 3 championships were all won in Texas. If San Diego State or FAU cut down the nets, then they will be the first mid-major program to ever win the NCAA tournament since the UNLV Running Rebels won back in 1990. San Diego State and FAU will tip off the Final Four. That will be at 6:09 on Saturday. That game will be followed by UConn and Miami, tentatively scheduled, of course, depending on what happens with the first game. That'll be scheduled for 8:49. This is a crazy year, and I also found out that if Florida Atlantic wins, they're a 9 seed, the first 9 seed in the history to win the tournament.
I like that. I'm always rooting for the underdog. I feel like everybody's bracket is messed up from what they had before, so why not go for the underdog now?
And now there are 3 underdogs, right? UConn is really the only team that I guess
has won some past.
Yes, and I love that all these games are on our air. We've got both Final Four games this Saturday, the national championship on our air a week from tonight.
And we still have the ACC represented with Miami, so this is good, good stuff.
Good stuff.
All right, we're going to take a break. We're coming back.
Hey, it's me. Ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie. They forever go together like a classic combination. In case you didn't know, it is National Joe Day. And on this day, you're supposed to drink a cup of Joe with someone named Joe. Got any Joes in your life?
Oh, yeah. I mean, everybody
I
knows
thought
a
about
Joseph.
it. I can't think of any Joes.
You don't have a Joe.
Anyone that we call Joe, I couldn't think of any.
What about like Joseph, Joey?
Yeah, I
Joseph?
know some Josephs.
Josiah,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yes, we all know a Josiah.
Right,
Tracy.
So my dad is Jose or
Okay.
Joe. One of my grandfather's name was Joseph, and really my parents thought that I was going to be a boy, and my name was supposed to be Joseph.
Like Joe
well,
Jr.
They
or
could've-
Joe the Third?
No,
You could have been Josephine.
Yes.
I could have been.
Joanna.
Joanne.
it was not on
Joanne.
the table. Isn't that funny?
Or Jolene.
Jolene.
Jolie. Okay, yeah, I can't do that. All right. All right, so anyone have any idea of how a coffee became known as a cup of Joe? Well, we're going to look at this. So according to several sources, Reader Digest included, the nickname began in the 19th century from coffee from the island of Java. There was a drink that mixed coffee and Java and chocolate, mocha, of course. It was called a cup of jamoke, and people just shortened it to cup of Joe. At least that's what they say.
I always wondered that.
Interesting.
Never made sense to me.
Right.
Now
About why it's called
I just
cup
thought
of Joe.
a guy named Joe liked to drink coffee.
Yeah, that's what I was
Right,
thinking.
right. There's a lot of different things that swirl around, but that's
Yeah.
the one that most everybody kind of goes to. That's why they think it's called that.
interesting.
Well, no matter what you call it, all coffee goes through the same process. And recently, I was at the only coffee farm that Starbucks owns. They only own one, and it's in Costa Rica. It's very pretty. Look at
Oh, is this
that.
back here?
Yes.
Oh,
Nice.
nice.
Very
Look at that
pretty.
view.
Oh
It is.
my
Oh yeah,
God.
it's got a view.
Beautiful.
It's got a waterfall too. So coffee is labor intensive. Let me show you just part of this tour.
All coffee starts with a bean that's planted. You can see the little plants out in front, and it takes several years before the plant is big enough to give you what's called a coffee cherry. Now, this looks like a red berry, but it's not. Much like a cherry, there is a pit of some sort inside. Now, this is video of us looking for the cherries that are left on the plant. This is how coffee is harvested. The pickers go through each plant looking by hand. So check this out, because the pickers strap these baskets to them, and then they pick those cherries, and they fill up 10 to 20 of these a day. So then the machine then squeezes out the cherries. I tried to do it with my hands to show you. Whoosh, there it went. I found out what was inside. So you can see the cherry part on the outside, the bean from the inside, and they say that you could eat the outside. So I tasted it, and it tasted like a red pepper. It was not sweet. All right, so after the beans are washed through these machines, they come out, and then they're dried for several days. And just when you think, okay, this has got to be over, right? There's yet another casing, like a peanut shell, that has to be taken off the bean. And then finally, you can roast those beans. And when the roasting is done, you can make yourself and enjoy a cup of Joe.
Wow, I
Man.
have so much appreciation
What a
for
process.
coffee.
That's why I said
That
I'm never going to throw coffee down the drain again and be
No.
like, oh, I don't need this last sip.
that was a whole process.
I
wonder
definitely
Starbucks
new
is-
appreciation.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why
That's
it's
neat.
$6 a pop. 'cause you
Yeah,
gotta go
absolutely.
through all that.
I'm kind of surprised at what you said it tasted like.
The shell
The
part.
shell
red
part
pepper
tasted
thing.
like a red pepper. It did not taste like coffee. Yeah, and really the bean
interesting.
doesn't really taste like coffee until you start roasting it, right? And if it pops once, then it's a blonde roast. If it pops twice, it's a medium roast. If it pops 3 times,
Oh, so
it's
that's
a
how
dark
they
roast.
determine.
Yes, it's how
Oh.
long it's roasted.
Which are you?
I'm a dark roast.
I'm a blonde roast.
Yeah, me too.
Imagine that.
Right.
I like the lighter
Right?
coffee. Yeah.
All right, so savor that cup of coffee, folks, because it takes something to get that cup of coffee to
Right.
you, for sure.
We'll be back.
Rain, rain, go away. With the off and on showers we've experienced the last couple of days, I asked you on Facebook, are you an umbrella or a raincoat kind of person? Maybe you're both. Melita Hatley says, I use both at times. However, a rain jacket with a hood is easier to keep up with and better in the wind than an umbrella. Denise McBride wrote, raincoat, it's so much easier just to pull the hood over your hair and go. Brenda Wagner, umbrella, don't like for my hair to get wet. And then I like this one. Dr. Naloda Woody says, umbrella on the beach.
On the beach.
That sounds nice.
Yes, I like that.
Because I'd love to be on a beach right now.
I'm the mad dasher. I hate raincoats and umbrellas.
What if it's pouring down?
Now, if it's
That's
pouring,
just too much.
I know, but I take the risk. I do have a little short umbrella I keep in the car, but I can't tell you the number of times. I don't use it very often.
I prefer a raincoat because when it comes to the umbrellas, I lose them so often. I'll leave them at somebody's house. I'll leave it at work. Or I've been in the situation where the last umbrella I had to throw away was I was leaving the office in the wind. I was in a fight with the umbrella. The umbrella won and it broke and I had to toss it.
See, I prefer a raincoat, especially if I'm wearing a hat, then I can just put it over. Because for me, umbrellas are just kind of annoying.
Cumbersome.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
And they're dangerous too when that wind is blowing.
Well, so then you get to your car and you've got the umbrella, so you close it up and then you try to put it in your vehicle without shaking off too much of the rain, because then it gets your seats wet and then I don't know.
Have you done the reverse umbrella? Because I have one of these and I love them.
Oh, when it's like
it goes in and keeps the water inside. It
no,
goes
I've
like
not
up.
used one of
I
those.
keep that. That's the one I keep in my car.
Yeah.
I used to have one of those little hats.
The hats with them.
That come down. I'm not kidding. I didn't actually wear it out in public, but I won it at something at school when I was in middle school. So I did have one of those.
She might need it today.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Let's talk
I'll be
about
wearing
that.
the raincoat.
I want to see Lauren wear that in a live shot. That's what I want. Here's what we're looking at. Yeah, we've got a couple of showers out there. In fact, we talked about this earlier. If you look at the temperatures, the northern counties are actually hotter. Unusual. That's because the rain has moved to the south. But 81 in Reidsville, dropped to 74 in Greensboro, and 70 even in Lexington. Yeah, we've seen the rain out and about. It really just depends on where you are as to whether you've seen the rain or not. And my clicker's not working. I'm gonna step out of the way and let you guys take a look at this while I advance the graphics over here this way. Here's the showers that we're seeing now. Heaviest stuff in Randolph County and parts of eastern Davidson County. So really, if you're heading down 64 from Lexington to Asheboro, you run right through this to the east of Randleman. So I would say Liberty and Siler City, you're getting some heavier rain heading your way. Coleridge, the same situation as well. And yeah, it is heavy. It's from Ramsewer over to North Asheboro, and all the points to the east will definitely run into those showers and thunderstorm possibility as well. Once that last little line moves through, though, I think we're in the clear in another hour or so, and then behind that we just see that gradual clearing. It looks great. So tonight we're going for an overnight low of 46 degrees and mostly clear skies. Tomorrow the high temperature at 63 with a shower possible on Tuesday night. We'll bring that up to a 40% chance of showers. Again, that's for Tuesday night, not during the day. 60 on Wednesday, partly cloudy through Friday, 67 and 72. We build through the end of the work week. 76 with a thunderstorm chance on Saturday, but Sunday's nice. Back cool again, though, right where we should be, 66 and partly cloudy.
As you know, we have been enjoying spring weather for some time now, but they are finally starting to warm up in the Northeast, and the animals, they are loving it. Check out the giraffes at the Franklin Park Zoo in Boston enjoying the warmer weather, playing in their exhibit. One of these guys, his name is Chad, so you know he's a good time.
So the funny that we had this story in our 9 o'clock show today, this morning, and the funny thing is their names are like, don't quote me because I can't remember, it was like Amari, Aliki, and Chad.
And Chad.
It was just so funny how they
standard
added that in.
Chad.
Yes.
Those are some beautiful, they're so beautiful though,
They
just seeing
are.
them gallop across. I'd love to see them in person.
Have you ever fed giraffes?
Yes.
I have not.
You can do that
carrots?
at the zoo.
Yep,
Yes.
and I did that once, and I did it for my mouth. And I held the carrot in my mouth, and the giraffe came up and pulled it with its tongue out of my mouth.
Were you weren't nervous at all about it?
I was nervous, yep, but I saw a small child do it before I did, so I said, okay,
And I'm sure you got a great selfie out of it too.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely. All right, we'll take a break. We'll be right back.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, 8.
Hello, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just FYI, my mic does not have a windscreen on it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Gosh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, I will support you and your endeavor.
Ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie, they forever go together like a classic combination.
Check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
One of the coolest parts about living in the Triad is how much history is in our backyard. This weekend, I had the chance to hike part of the trail dedicated to the Underground Railroad, right there in the woods behind Guilford College. Now, the centerpiece of this trail is a giant 300-year-old tree that would have been there as enslaved men and women made their way through the forest towards freedom in the North. Just seeing that tree, you get a sense of being connected to something so much bigger than yourself. But what really hit me was this, a nail in a nearby tree. When people were running towards freedom in the middle of the night and they came to a fork in the forest, they could hug the tree and feel the nail pointing them in the right direction. It's hard enough to walk through the woods in daylight, let alone in the dark, alone, in an unfamiliar place when you're worried someone is chasing you. Historians say about 100,000 slaves escaped this way, getting through the terror by leaning into their hope for a better life. I have so much respect for all of them, each one an inspiration, and a powerful reminder that when life gets rough, we can make it through as long as we believe we're working towards something better. That's my 2 cents. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts right now.
We begin with breaking news on that deadly school shooting in Tennessee. Authorities say a female suspect opened fire on students and staff at a private Christian elementary school in Nashville. 3 children and 3 adults died.
Police say the 28-year-old shooter used 2 rifles and a pistol to